It's time for a new season here at FC United. Our second in charge of the year is 2025, and with our promotion last year secured, I needed to recruit in some new players. And what better face to see than a Park to Prem FM21 legend. Jarrell Quansah, the set-piece weapon himself, is in FC United colours. I'm excited to see how he's going to do. I'm excited to show you all the transfers we've done. I'm very optimistic for this season, so let's get straight into this. Yes, folks, how is it going? And welcome back. This is episode number 9 of Park to Prem. Season 5 is upon us. We're still here at FC United. And of course, we are now competing in the Vanarama National North. Yes, promoted last year as champions. And today, we have a fresh challenge upon us. Before we get into things, just a couple of things to note. Firstly, our rivals of last season, Lancaster City, were promoted. They did win the playoffs. I'm sure we're going to butt heads with them at some point this year. And because people I know will ask, Jack, how did Three Bridges do last year? If we just take a little peek at their history, they finished 10th in the league. Their media prediction for this year is 16th. I did have a peek at their squad. They're missing quite a few quite important positions. They don't have a left back. And I suppose the fact that Three Bridges can't afford a left back nor more than the 15 men I think they have in their first team squad, it perhaps was the right move to come here to FC United. Of course, last season, promotion was great. This year, expectations are pretty high. The board expectation at the end of the year was a top half finish, you might remember. I've come back after the summer. They are now saying reach the playoffs, which might sound a little bit daunting, and to be fair, it is a little bit daunting. But if we just look at our pre-season billing, our initial media prediction was 7th. That, of course, before all of our transfers were done. And I've been very, very happy with our transfer business. And while with all of it concluded, we are now odds-on favourite to win the league despite being a newly promoted side. Yeah, do feel like there's a lot of pressure on us this season. You may have also spotted it. Stephen Gold, considered one of the key players in the division. In fact, he's the second highest player on the key players charts. And the good news for us is he has signed a new contract. It's quite a fat contract. It's £1,200 a week. That's a scary amount of money, but it is a 4-year deal. So we've managed to lock down probably the best player in our side to a long-term deal with his, of course, performances from last year fresh in our mind. We're going to hope he can replicate the kind of goal-scoring form that saw us get promoted last year in this new division. So going into this season, pretty decent financial situation. We've got £180,000 in the bank, still some season tickets being sold. You might remember the wage budget was set last episode. We're currently spending £16,600, although there is another £2,000 spare, so we can still make some moves. Of course, I talked about it last season, but we had a load of youth players in at the club on kind of £100 to £150 a week. I've basically nuked the youth setup here. A lot of the players that we have in our academy, let's be honest, they're never going to be good enough for the level that we're at now. Never mind the level we'll probably be at in a few years once they start to really realise their potential. So as a result, there has been a big culling. Gaylor is just vibing with the under-18s because he's not going to play in the first team this year. But with that, we were able to save a lot of money and as a result, construct a first team. I'm very, very happy with this year. And well, when it comes to the transfers, there wasn't a lot of sales made, but there was a lot of players released. Of course, we had a lot of players on short, year-long deals, as well as some first-team players. In the end, with us moving up a level, I felt like it was a great opportunity to clear house a little bit. So if we just look at things here, we have released 21 players. There were a couple more players that actually kind of were moved on as transfers of some description, including a couple of loans to end the year. But with all those players departing, we had lots of space in the first team to really add some strength. So let's talk about all these new players. Lots of new faces and a couple of familiar faces as well. In terms of the defence, Isaiah Kunu, Crow and Harker hold down spots from last year. But of course, we've already talked about him. Jarrell Quansah is in the building. Now this man, he's a giant. He's got 16 jumping reach, 15 heading. Was playing for Liverpool. He went to Tamworth last year where he had an okay season at this level. I'm hoping that we're going to be able to replicate the success we had with him last year in Park to Prem here at FC United. He is a very, very good player. £19,000 paid, not an insignificant sum of money for a player at this level, but I do feel like he offers us some really good quality. I feel like when you look at his polygon, you could easily just label him as a bit of a set-piece merchant. He's just good in the air and not that great at anything else. But actually, within the context of players at this level, I mean, you can see here, just compared to Yannick, he is a big step up from the defenders we had last year. And as a result of that, he is earning the big bucks, currently on £1,000 a week. Over in the left-back position, a Welsh international. Now, granted, he's not played in the Wales team for a long time, but a name that maybe some of you will recognise at home, Declan John. We needed an upgrade at left-back. It was an area of the pitch that last year we had no depth in. This man joins us. He's been a free agent for a little while. He was released by Bolton Wanderers, where you can see he played fairly consistently in League One for a number of years. But after almost a whole season without a club, he joined us, and well, I'm hoping he's going to be a good little left-back for us this year. Good delivery, good going forward. If we just compare him to Crow, who of course was a standout performer at right-back last year, you can see he is a big upgrade. Now, moving up into the midfield, great news, everyone. Jones is still here. He's still vibing. He's still one of my favourites. I feel like at this point, he's just part of the furniture. This is going to be his 4th successive season playing under us. He has stepped up at every single level, and this is the 3rd tier that he's going to have played at for one of my teams. Alongside him, though, a couple of new faces. The first, Cabazuto. What a name this is. A Gibraltarian international. At 18 or 19, I suppose. I can't. Numbers are hard to read. Look, he can play centre-back naturally, but I don't love his jumping reach. However, for our team, as a ball-winning midfielder on defend, he's a very capable player. This is the area of the pitch I want to play him in. With 7 passing and 5 vision, I think it's kind of serviceable for this level. He is a defender by trade. We're going to hopefully train him in the dark arts of midfield. Either way, he's going to be a great ball-winning midfielder. If we have injuries at the back, he's probably the man I'll slot in at centre-back. Loads of quality. He was released by Arsenal, played for Billericay Town last year in the Vanarama National League South. So a player who has proven himself at this level. Over to his left, a bit of a gem. Now, I can't stress this enough. When you're managing in these expanded lower league databases, do not be afraid to go to the season preview and just look through all the players in the Media Dream 11. It's worth scouting them and just having a look at some of these players. Of course, if you're a couple of years in like I am, suddenly all the regens really stand out as kind of unique players and unique opportunities. And this guy, Ross Butterworth, was one player found through this method. He's been playing for Dorchester for a number of years. Last season, he had a low average rating, but he managed to get 7 player of the matches in 41, which when you consider he's 18 years old, is a monumental achievement. And this guy is really good. He kind of reminds me of Nestor McIntyre last year. Remember the Canadian? He is still at the club, but he's fallen down the pecking order. And whilst he is perhaps a tiny bit more creative, you can see here Ross is a very similar player. He's just better physically, better technically, better mentals and defending. Just kind of an all-round upgrade. And he is a player who I'm pinning my long-term hopes at the team around. He's got a 4-year deal. Like a couple of the players we've signed, he's got potential League 2 kind of quality, according to my staff. I would certainly love that to be the case. Very keen to see how he gets on this year. And ahead of him, it's slightly more familiar, but with one new name that you might not have expected to see kind of in a position we'd look for a new starter in. We've got Wallace, an advanced playmaker. He's been very good for us, although compared to where he was last year, where he was one of the best players at the club, he is perhaps one of those players on the fringes of dropping off the first team 11 in terms of his overall quality. Of course, Gold is to his left. We've talked about Stephen every single episode. We don't need any more talking about him. But to Gold's right, another player worth being aware of, Lewis Maitland. Now, similarly to the previous guy we talked about, Butterworth, I found him through looking at the kind of Media Dream 11. He was playing for Poole Town. He was promoted with them, scoring 19 goals in 37 games. Then last year, he got 17 goals in 41, which, let's be honest, that's pretty impressive. It's made even more impressive when you realise he got all those goals with Poole, who ended up being relegated. That's right, he got 17 goals for a team relegated from kind of the Southern Premier Division South. So, with that in mind, I've decided to take a punt on him. He's a very good player. He's naturally a striker. He can play as a centre mid. He might play at centre mid on attack for us, although it's not really the plan. But what he does offer is some really good quality. And to be honest, if I just compare him to Mikulski, you do have to question why Mikulski's now on £800 a week, because that wage does seem a little bit steep given the quality we've been able to add this year. You can notice here, he is surplus to requirements. I have set an asking price. We'll see if anyone comes in for him. But Lewis Maitland, I'm very keen to see play this year. I think he could be a little star. And again, League 2 quality in terms of his potential. Over on the bench, plenty of other new faces as well. Tom Sams brought in as a kind of versatile centre-back. Can play left-back, can play right-back as well. When you're only allowed 5 subs, this kind of player is like gold dust. Very, very valuable, so great to have him in. And Becker's on the bench this year. We've also got Jamie Dunn, who's a young Irish prospect. Looks like a player with some good little potential for the future and certainly the capability to play anywhere down the middle now. He is somewhat the Sarsen replacement, which I feel bad for Sarsen, but let's be honest, he was meant to be the super sub who could play anywhere down the middle. And, well, as you can see, Jamie Dunn is just the same player but better. They play the same positions, they play the same roles. Yeah, sorry, John. I've basically just replaced him directly. Mikulski's on the bench, as is Rodwell Grant. So those two strikers, two players who were very good at the previous level. I think they're both players who are capable of playing at this level as well. But it is a testament to our strength in depth in the final third that two players who really last year were considered two of our best players now find themselves on the bench as real impact options. The great news is both have kind of accepted their fates. It's always a bit nervous when you get promoted up through the leagues and you've kind of got all the different players kind of, I guess, playing time expectations and you need to shuffle them around because of promotions. As you can see here, we've done a pretty good job of moving things around, and actually the majority of the squad don't realise they're starting players, which is a little bit bizarre, but it makes my job of keeping them all happy with their playing time that little bit easier. So I do feel like it's pretty evident the team really has taken a step up this year. My personal expectations, I want to challenge at the top of the table. After the FA Trophy run last year, I really felt like that was something we were capable of doing. And when I look across the team, when I look at the improvements we've made, it feels ridiculous to kind of doubt ourselves to be able to do that. Team cohesion's good, club atmosphere's good, managerial support's good. We have brought in a lot of new faces, but at the same time, the core of the team isn't too radically changed, which is always good. And as you can see, just looking at the hierarchy, we have got a hierarchy that kind of makes sense. We've all been in that situation, haven't we, where we kind of radically overhaul the team and suddenly there's no leaders left at the top. We've still got Isaiah Kunu, we've still got Wallace, who have been at the club for a couple of years. Of course, Harker is in goal, and, well, he's in goal for this year. He won't be in goal for next year, and that's because there's one more signing to tell you about, and this might be one of those iconic Park to Prem kind of signings that just works out forever. Are you ready to see this, man? I've bigged him up a lot now. Let's go and take a look. So this is the man in question, Adam O'Sullivan Kearney. He is currently playing for Shelbourne in the second tier of Ireland. Now, how did I find him? Well, it's kind of simple. I was looking through the Irish First Division, Media Dream 11. When there's a 16-year-old goalkeeper in the Media Dream 11, that kind of stands out a little bit. When he was valued, as you can see here, at £25,000, that makes me take notice as well. And I've taken what I think is a calculated gamble. He's 16 years old. He can't join us until he turns 18, so we've got a little while to wait, which is a tiny bit annoying, but the patience will be worth it. He is ridiculous. Look at him as a goalkeeper. For £25,000, we are paying him over £1,000 a week. He's going to be one of the biggest earners when he arrives, when he turns 18. If we compare him to Harker here, who does have marginally better shot stopping, I think you can just see the quality that Adam has. I'm very excited to see what he can do. He's got kind of really consistent in his pros. Probably could do with scouting him a little bit more. The recommendation was an A+, but I think now because it says he's unavailable for transfer, because we've already signed him, it's dropped down to a B, because Football Manager's weird like that. Maybe I'm overhyping him, but genuinely, if he can live up to the potential that I'm dreaming that he has, I mean, he's got the most clean sheets in the second division of Ireland at 16. This guy could be our goalkeeper in the Championship in 8 years. That's kind of what I'm imagining right now. But as I said, we can't get too carried away because he doesn't join us until the 18th of October 2026. That's going to be a really long and annoying wait, but when he arrives, we are having a party. So first game of the season today is against Boston United, away from home, the team that we started last year's Park to Prem with. So it's kind of interesting to see us play them. Hopefully we get to enjoy the car park that they have, where only 2 of their stands exist, although I think actually in real life they're currently planning on expanding the stadium a little bit more. We'll find out once we get into the 3D. I realise if you didn't watch last year's Park to Prem, you have no idea what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the car park. You might see it in a moment. If you don't see it, go watch last year's Park to Prem. If you've been waiting each day for this year's Park to Prem episodes to come out, there's a whole world of Park to Prem out there, like 200 episodes over the previous 2 years. Good binge watches, that's all I'm going to say. But anyway, let's get into this game. I've already talked you through the starting 11. Of course, Gold, Wallace, Jones, Isaiah Kunu, Crow and Harker all surviving from last year. Keep a keen eye on Maitland. Very interested to see how he gets on, of course. Relegated with Poole last year, but a player who has kind of proven his worth at the lower league, scoring double-figure goals. Going to be a big step up for him today. Elsewhere, Butterworth, very keen to see how he does. Another player who was kind of scouted and plucked from the lower leagues of England. A player who has stood out at that level. Big questions on whether or not he can step up to this level, but I mean, my staff think he's ready. They think he's a Vanarama national level player for the league above us. Yeah, I mean, Ross, the expectations are rather high on you, mate. So, yeah, good luck today. And of course, it goes without saying, we want to see Stephen Gold score his first goals of the season today. I say goals plural. That's how many goals I expect for him to score. But taking on Boston United, a team who have stagnated at this level for way over a decade at this point in this save game. A team who, of course, were a Football League side about 2 decades ago, were my local team growing up as well. So I'm hoping we can do one over on them today. Unfortunately, I don't think the car park exists. It looks like they have built the other 2 stands, the Boston Community Stadium. Yeah, the car park doesn't exist. There is a gazebo, though. Only one gazebo. Pathetic. Right, Maitland, I've bigged you up. You've made a big step up here. He's going to cross it to Gold, who hits it on the volley. And, well, you would have put your house on him to score that. Of course, Gold last year didn't have as much expectation on him, but having scored a load of goals last year, having become the biggest earner at the club this year to secure him on a 4-year deal, I expect him to just tear apart this league, and he is one of the best players in the league according to the media. Anyway, Maitland in the wide area gives it to Crow. Gold is there, and you know what? It's taken him 15 minutes. He's found his feet at this level, and Crow, who got the most assists for us last year, has got the assist. It's just the same as last year. It's just happening all over again. Is anyone else getting deja vu? Really nice goal, though. Maitland held up the ball well. Gold has 3 defenders challenge him. They all go for him. None of them win the ball. He gets his noggin on it first into the top corner. And that is a pretty ideal start. Throwing on the far side, Crow to Jones. Crow going to look for Gold at the back post. He nods it down to Butterworth. And I talked about this pressure on him to step up at this new level. He's hit the woodwork there. That was a pretty good opportunity. I probably should also explain that in this division, the top team go up automatically. The next 6 teams then all go into a playoff where the bottom 4 teams play against each other, and then the winners of those kind of bottom 4 teams in the playoffs then play against the teams who finish 2nd and 3rd in the league. So there's kind of like a quarter final to the playoffs. It's a bit weird. It's a change that's happened in the lower levels of England recently to have more teams involved in the playoffs just because there's fewer promotion spots. But what that does mean is that the board expectation of reach the playoffs isn't quite as harsh as you might imagine, as it's only a top 7 finish, which, I don't know, I feel like with our squad, with the media prediction, we should be doing that and then some. Okay, so coming up to an hour gone here, we've had double the XG of them. They've had just the 1 shot on target. Of course, the beautiful thing this year is we've got lots and lots of options on the bench. We really can change things up. And you know what? Wallace hasn't played great today. We're going to bring in Jamie Dunn and see what he can do. Wallace, another player who's maybe earning a little bit too much money given his actual quality. You can see him compared to Dunn here. There's not a million miles apart, I suppose, in terms of their overall quality. We'll see if Jamie can step up today, making his debut, 19 years old. Yeah, I'm hoping with Maitland and kind of Gold ahead of him, they're going to be able to create something. Although as this game goes on, the temptation to maybe bring in Mikulski increases. On my word, Gold has just hit the woodwork from a header. Of course it was him. You know what? Let's take off Maitland. He's a bit frustrated. He's feeling a bit aggressive. We're going to bring in Rodwell Grant. Sorry, Mikulski. And, well, hopefully we can get a second here just to make it comfortable. It's been one of those games where I feel like we've been in complete control. We've looked pretty good all in all. Declan Johns got injured. That's annoying. Hopefully that's not a serious injury. I mean, look, Welsh International. How long ago did he get those caps? It must have been a while ago. He played in the Championship 15 times, like a decade ago. Let's hope that injury isn't serious. There's 4 minutes left here. What I was going to say is this is one of those games where it feels like a comfortable win, but until you get a second goal or the full-time whistle goes, it doesn't feel that comfortable. You know, it's almost... You're waiting for Football Manager to screw you over. It's that kind of game. Done. Rodwell Grant on off the bench, should finish it, puts it wide of the post. That's probably the best opportunity we've had all game. Unfortunately, the finish was... I want to say lackluster. That might be generous. It was pretty bloody poor, wasn't it? I mean, Boston are now looking to bring it forward. I'm hoping that with 30 seconds left, we're just going to see it out. Crow, of course, last year set a record for worst discipline in FC United history with a red card and 14 yellows. The fact he's not got yellow carded today kind of feels like a bit of a miracle. Anyway, there is no time left in this game. The full-time whistle goes. Weird end to the game in terms of the highlight. Dylan Crow, 9.2 at right back. Did the job. Gold got a goal at this level. All in all, that was a good performance against one of the kind of teams that might be in and around the playoffs next year. We looked in control away from home. Any win is a good win, really. Unfortunately, we're only in 10th because we only scored the one. But with a whole new look team, I feel quite good. It's annoying that Declan Johns got injured, but I did sign another backup left back. And I didn't introduce him just because I don't know how much he's going to play in the first team this year. But as a backup, he's very good. Matthew Blake. This guy's the secret weapon. Look, he's got 12 corners. He's got 11 free kick taking. This man can take set pieces. And whilst from open play, he's probably not as useful as John on the whole, although he is very technically gifted. He just lacks that spring in his step. As a bit of a set piece merchant, I'm not thinking about Quanta and Gold's foreheads. He could be a very, very useful kind of weapon to have out on the left-hand side. But anyway, we will see how he gets on next time. No point in worrying about it just yet, although with the next few weeks, we'll get a better idea of if he is good enough for this level or if indeed his corners are his only redeeming quality at left back. Yeah, I probably could have got a better left back in, really, as the backup. I would love to know what you make of the transfers that we've done here. A few new faces, keeping some older faces around, just basically looking at all the best players in the Media Dream 11s from the divisions around us, hoarding them all, getting them in at this club. We've got a young, new look side, and Jarrell Quansah was a bit quiet. I mean, to be fair, he got an 8.1, but he was a bit quiet. I'm sure by the time we return, he will have scored a header. If he hasn't, it's been a complete waste of money. I mean, I have spent £19,000 on him. That's not a small amount for our team, is it? If you've enjoyed today's video, as always, do drop a like on it. I'll see you guys again next time for more, and well, until tomorrow, it's me, Jack. I'll see you all next time. I'm out.